Yeah, I'm like in full scale light skin Jesus mode over here.
I know you
The
got
light
the
shining behind
light shining coming through with the
you.
all you need is the torture stake for the Roman government. You know, that's taking it too far. The crucifixion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So someone told me I was whacked the other day and my hip hop abilities were subpar.
That's crazy. Did you then whack them for
I I did not.
blasphemy?
They actually had a couple solid critiques of
How
well,
so?
they just didn't, they just didn't like it. And, you know, people not always gonna like your music, but it's funny how 95 people could out of 100 could say positive things or tell you that you're literally one of the greats or an underground king, but you hold on to the 5 people that said something disparaging.
How about that? The negative comment like a feather on the scale, versus the ton of positive anvils.
Right. The brother had me considering retirement. You know what I'm saying? He hit me I guess he caught me at a vulnerable moment. Usually I'm more mentally tough than that to deal with those type of situations because you gotta deal with that every time you put yourself out there to the public. But for some reason, that shit hit differently because I wasn't even
Very, very
asking
good.
him for a
Well,
critique.
you absolutely can't retire. I literally just wrote a verse yesterday for a track I want you to get on where like you're in the rhyme scheme. So, it's like Kareem Ali feature, Ether teaches and preaches. It's like you gotta
Right. I gotta do it. I gotta do it, but I mean, I hope I don't disappoint. I might come back like Jordan wearing the 4-5.
forge forward with the 4 or 5. I mean, but it's crazy to me though, because people's opinion out here in these streets of of what's considered quality is so tainted
Yeah.
by the mediocrity of what the culture consumes on a daily basis, especially talking about mainstream hip hop. Like I'm very isolated and intentionally because a lot of the stuff my kids will mention stuff and I'll just be like I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like I know Ice Spice and that's about it. But you know it's crazy to me how you know what is considered good has been very much skewed. And so I kind of filter myself, inside the walls of the boom bap church of Latter-day B-boys where, I just get the crack straight from the clergy. And so, I'm bumping Killer
So you kind
Priest
of
and
stay in
Nas
the echo
albums.
chamber.
Inspiration can't escape you when, you're controlling your content consumption in a certain way.
That's true, but at the same time, don't you feel like you need to know what's kind of going on, what the pulse is on the streets of what people are really connecting with?
You need to know enough to know why they're connecting with that to be able to offer an alternative at least. I
Mm.
think. I mean, man, it was a post on Instagram not too long ago. This sister put up that went viral, where basically she was reiterating something that Pete Rock had said about how things are so dumbed down and watered down, and the quality and skill factor is so low, and that we're in the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and we can look back at the lineage and see the classics that have tested time.
Right.
And a lot of what's coming out in the mainstream now, forget 50 years from now, like this stuff won't be a fight in people's eardrum 5, 10 years from now. It's
Well,
like
they say just from a
even saying, where are the classics? Like, where's the
yeah,
music that your generation is going to be playing when they're grandparents? It doesn't exist for a lot of it.
they throw classic around way too loosely now, and the standards are so low. I think you know some people used to use the analogy like if I lowered a goal to 8 feet, then everybody could dunk. So then what's it
Right.
worth? You used to say
Everybody.
that mediocre was the new dope. And I agree that's the time that we're living in. I mean, people don't even have to be, they don't have to put the effort or the work in to really understand what the legends did, what the greats did, understand what skills they need to develop to push it forward. It's almost
Yeah.
as if we're de-evolving. I mean, I know
From a
people.
certain perspective, though, in terms of, if you are eating the diet of what, the McDonald's is giving you musically, but if
Mm,
you take just a little bit of effort to construct your own, vegan meal plan of quality music, then you can consume, treat your apparatus of choice like your own personal vegan chef. And then there's such a wealth of
yeah.
quality underground and independent music, more than there probably ever has been. I was watching this Rap City documentary And they were just talking about how, as the show went on, the quality of the show decreased because of how the producers were trying to cartel to what was coming out in the mainstream. And I always thought Rap City ended when Tigger closed down the basement, but they tried to keep going without him on a new set and a different format with like 4 more hosts and 5 more seasons, and it was just so whack that it had no indent on people's memory to even remember that Rap City went on for
You know
like
what?
5
I
more.
vaguely remember that it did, but I kind of just drowned out and stopped watching. I don't
Yeah,
remember
it
why.
was like a shadow of itself. And then on the documentary, Ludacris said something that was really poignant, where he was saying that, but if you look at the current generation of youth who are not the followers, who are the leaders among their peers, they actively seek out classic hip hop. They actively seek out independent hip hop, and they not only consume it and study it, but they create content online of them consuming it and reacting to it. And he was like, the younger generation are coming in a time of the digital age, and they're studying the artifacts that have been left behind, as well as the things that are being created by their peers that is of high quality. So it's like, they're like, McDonald's is right there, but for a lot of them, they're like, we don't go there. We go to this co-op down the street.
I do believe that people will always have an understanding of what true talent is. It can't be denied, you know. So
Yeah.
true lyricism, I feel like true ability, even vocalism. There's a group of youth that will always seek those things because it's more satiating. People have a spiritual need to be satisfied by things of a higher level of content and a higher level of talent and
Yeah.
lyrical ability.
And
So
brother, if you analyze the arc of history, as it evolves throughout, you will always see without a doubt that it is the youth who lead us every time. Like, in all seriousness, like every movement, it is the youth taking the catalyst to say, hey, we're going this way now. We know that you're saying we should do this, but we're going to do that. And I feel like that a lot of times, if we kind of give them a chance to discover things for themselves instead of try to force them one way or the other, that's where the true evolution of the culture comes in.
well, the brother we had on the show last week, Prince Mac,
It's
brilliant
Max.
MC, brilliant MC, brilliant young MC. I had
MC,
to I had
brilliant
to call him
producer.
out. I had to call him a couple hours after the show because I listened to his project on the way to work. Um, I can't remember what it was called off the top of my mind, and I wish I could plug it for him. But I just thought
Unspoken words.
unspoken words. Oh, from the intro to the first song and pretty much all the way through. Um, it was just an immaculate representation of talent and lyrical ability, of storytelling, of him,
Immaculate.
of immaculate, of just artist self-expression
Yeah.
shown through a pretty high level of skill for his age. And when you hear stuff like that, it's just no excuse for the degradation and the
Right.
shameful efforts of musicality being put forth that's presented on the mainstream to our eardrums today. It's like I
Yeah.
get
I mean,
offended
and
sometimes.
sometimes it has everything to do with, who are your mentors, and
Yeah,
who are the
or your
people who
influences.
guide you to your best self. Because he's
Right.
a student of good brother, the legendary cat on the scene we know, Ogun, and
Okay,
his
yeah.
program beats not bullets. So he comes out of that camp, and so
I was
if
also
you're
it's
surrounded with the ingredients for the right diet, you have no choice but not just to consume, but to
right.
reciprocate something dope of your own.
It's funny. I also was a student of Ogun for years when he was with Rites of Passage. I mean,
Right, right.
Ogun was like older than me, but I remember him when I was coming into high school. He was going out, and I always looked at him like just an older brother. His presence was almost intimidating back then when you're 13, 14 years old looking up at him. But when we went to college
Wow.
together for a little while, he was definitely older, but I was just inspired by him. I mean, his music, he's one of the reasons that I actually wanted to or thought that I could possibly do music. He was always very encouraging, even through my early rhymes when I actually was kind of whack. He told me that I never was, though. He said it's just something I had to continue to do and develop. And sometimes I still will call Ogun. We call it our biannual conversation, or once every year, or every 18 months, we have a conversation. And sometimes I still pick his brain and ask him things. And he still helps me to this day, gives me nuggets that I can grow and develop from to become a better artist, like even to this day. So I'm always going to appreciate that brother, always going to look up to him, and I definitely respect what he's doing now. He always has had an effect on the youth. So he wasn't just my big brother, but there was a lot of guys out there that I felt like he's done the same thing for. So had to say some kind words about brother Ogun.
Yeah, shout out to the great Ogun, aka
Bmores,
Kevin
Beasley, bro.
Kevin Beasley.
Beasley. I didn't want to put his government out there, but since we said it, you said it already. Ogun, aka Kevin
Because I know recently, you know, his government was put on proverbial blast because of a lofty award that he received, like a lifetime achievement award in community service in the arts. And it's like Kevin Beasley, and it's like, oh right, Ogun.
Yeah, that's a bad dude, man. I used to
Ogun Gordy on Facebook.
Yeah, I know. I used to definitely. I still had some of his albums and stuff, and I remember a lot of his songs, especially from the 2000s when he was just in his absolute prime. I love Ogun. It's Ogun. It's pronounced Ogun. What a bad dude. Yeah.
Like the deity.
That's my guy. Yeah, definitely.